Good morning. Hereinafter, I would like to discuss with you about the exam proposed to be conducted for selection of district municipal magistrate. I will only discuss few points so that you can understand the concept of that every act consolidately, not with a specific topic. Certain things you should understand basically what that means, then you can easily follow your studies. The other day I have gone through certain classes. They are deeply straining to deliver lectures, but I don't think that is not enough for you to write the examination. You should be very careful to understand the basic structure of the act. Then only, and you must also concentrate on legal history, jurisprudence, and law of interpretation. These things are most important. However, as usual, I want to share the judgment AR 2023 Chhattisgarh 70, AR 2023 Chhattisgarh 70, Neeraj Baghel versus Collector Raipuram. Here, the father allowed his son to occupy the room, and subsequently he filed an application under section 4 and 5 of the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizen Act. The collector ordered eviction of the son, and the son seems to have preferred writ petition before the Chhattisgarh bench. The Chhattisgarh bench has held that once the permission to reside in home by parents was withdrawn, they need not direct to file traditional eviction proceedings. They say the act was enacted principally to ameliorate deprivation of caused to the parents by children. Therefore, order of eviction held valid. So kindly go through the judgment and keep it in on file. Now, question arises. Let us start from Constitution. So before you understand the Constitution, you should understand the Constitution history. See, our Constitution was just followed certain colonial acts like 1908, 1929, then 1935, and Minto Marley Act, Montego Code Act, so many acts. But these all are called colonial acts. Prior to that, this colonial act is being passed by Imperial Parliament, not British Parliament. I will come to that later on. It is by Imperial Parliament of Great Britain, not British Parliament. British Parliament have got power to enact legislation only for British people. Imperial Parliament was permitted to pass act and legislation to implement its colonial countries like America, New Zealand, Australia, India, all those things. So prior to what was existing was control orders. By letter patent, the East India Company was permitted to pass control orders only for recovery of revenue, sharing and allotment of so many other things. This is what most important. You should also try to understand this is most important. Then I don't want to deeply discuss all these things. Then I will come only concepts. See, the fundamental rights guaranteed under constitutions are two in categories. Number one, fundamental rights to citizens. Other one, human rights to any person. That means any person, even foreigner can enjoy that. Then the fundamental rights which were guaranteed under Article 14, 15, 16 and 21 and 19. These acts have some consequences. It is subject to certain restrictions. These 14, 15, 16, there may be a reasonable classification. and 21 and 19 are reasonable restriction. You should understand first what is reasonable classification and what is uh, reasonable restriction. Then only you can understand the constitution. Then I will come to what is procedural laws, substantial laws. I am told a student that there are only two, procedural law and substantial law. Procedural law means how to get substantial law sanctioned properly. Substantial law means sanction. Sanction means remedy or result, end. Indian Penal Code has got sanction to punish the offender who violates substantial law. Other civil laws like Partition Act, Transfer of Property Act, if there was violation, you can file remedy. That is called substantial law. Code of Criminal Procedure is neither procedure law nor substantial law. Major portion of criminal procedure code is procedure law, but there are substantial law sections also. Those acts are called Consolidate Act, like NDPS Act and Essential Commodity Act, which contain their own procedure to conduct the investigation, trial, etc., etc. So that is called Consolidate Act. Therefore, the Code of Criminal Procedure is Consolidate Act, because the Code of Criminal Procedure, the present existing, is not Colonial Act. Earlier 1898 Act was there. That was Colonial Act. That was been repealed to the certain extent. Like that, Legal Practitioners Act was also there. That was totally not repealed, except Section 4 has been repealed under Advocates Act. Like that, you should, unless and until you understand these provisions of Act and laws, it is not easy to write your examinations. Then now I come to Evidence Act. Three major things you should understand in the Evidence Act. What is evidence? Circumstantial evidence, direct evidence, primary evidence, secondary evidence. Then question arises: proved, not proved, disproved. What is proved, what is not proved, what is disproved. All these things should be understood by you, unless and until you understand these words. And what is issue, what is relevant, what is otherwise relevant, irrelevant, otherwise relevant. Res gesti. Res gesti, it is pronounced as res regesti. What is regesti? This is most important area of Indian evidence to understand. But fortunately or unfortunately, Indian Evidence Act wordings are being interpreted that Indian Evidence Act only applicable to courts, not tribunals. That should be revisited by the government, so that at least apart from that, a Family Court Act and other acts says that you can frame your own procedure to be followed. That is not being followed. That is also there. See, these all are the major things you should understand while discussing with this area of understanding of law. Then question arises, the major is personal laws. You see, Indian Succession Act deals with Christian parties, but Indian Succession Act also deals with other personal laws like Hindus and Muslims. So far, probation, letter of administration, issuance of succession certificate, all are what is the procedure for HU. All these things should be understood. I hope you, unless and until today, I have given lot of subjects which you must understand. I think if you understood this, then again I will come and explain every area of these vital and starring words in acts which all are to be understood to write examination best wishes. So